Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you are having and hope you had a great week, depending on your time zone. But welcome back to this new video here on XRP. Wanted to do a full update. We actually had some interesting news happen over the course of the Asian session today, so I briefly wanted to talk about that, what happened and what type of impact that has on the price, and then we'll get to XRP. I mean, what you can see right now, especially when you take a look at the open interest right here, is some interesting developments for XRP, but then at the same point of time, and that is in itself, that's also interesting, but that does bring some nuances. At the same point of time, we're also entering Easter weekend, all right, which means that volatility will decrease, liquidity will decrease, and that means that volatility, especially on Saturday, Sunday, when I think, I mean, the volume is already dropping down right now. I expect the volume on Saturday and Sunday to be even lower. So for that volatility, you need to be prepared as well, because that means, I mean, low liquidity circumstances can be used by market makers and traders, etc., to make the price very volatile. And as some of you know, we still have a bit of an imbalance here to the downside at 1.85, 1.88. We've spoken about that quite often in this week, and in my last analysis, I always said I don't think we're going for that anymore. However, with the circumstances coming up, I think you need to be prepared for it. But more about on that later. Let's first talk about a little bit of news and what that's doing to the order flow of XRP right now. So what we heard a couple of hours ago is that Hashkey Group, which is a pretty major fund in crypto, it's definitely not like Canary Capital, which is applying for all these ETFs. But they're launching an XRP tracker fund in Asia, all right? So basically making it easier for institutions, but also retail investors in Asia to invest in XRP. And that's in general, this is in itself, I'd say this is slightly bullish. I don't think this is enough to push the price up. For that, we would need to have some data on how many people are actually buying this tracker fund. So that remains to be seen in the future, and that's something I'll keep my eyes on as well. But in the end, this is, or at least in totality, this is part of a bigger push by XRP to really up their institutional sales again, right? What they also did with the acquisition of what was it, the Hidden Road, that they're really trying to become more attractive for institutions. And that's in combination with the community that XRP has is, I still think, one of his main strengths. Now, like I said, this is most likely not going to cause a rally or a bull run from here. And what we're seeing right here is that, you know, the order flow is also not very bullish yet. To be fair, we actually saw quite a bit of shorts being opened over the course of the Asian session and yesterday as well, which is not necessarily bad news. I mean, it was to be expected that XRP would pull back, and yesterday I also said I think it's quite likely we're going to pull back into 1.95. But ultimately, and that has always been the case, and that's also what we're seeing slightly right here with positions being closed, CVD going up. Those shorts are more likely to be closed with news like this. Shorters in general for XRP tend to get punished. So even though, you know, short term Bitcoin is balanced, I'd say XRP is fairly balanced as well. It's pretty stable. So short term, I don't expect much movement from XRP. The shorts being opened creates fuel, creates liquidity for a potential move in the upside. The news on the long term is bullish, but at this point of time, I don't expect much movement. And then going into the weekend, like I said, the price of XRP right now is stable, but you can already see that it's very small, but trust me, you can already see that the volume for XRP is dropping down lower. So what I think you need to be prepared for is still that move into 1.95 to really test the outer bounds of the range that we are trying to reclaim back in. And then while we're at it, look, I'd say something like this is most likely. And then I still do expect a move into 2.3 and 2.4 later as well. But while we're at it, and we're expecting that move into 1.95, or at least a spike into that, if we get that during Saturday, during Sunday, which, you know, Sunday would be the time that would be most likely, just take into account that there's an imbalance here to the downside, right? I still think it's going to be unlikely we're going to fill that, but it's better to be safe than sorry. All right. So yeah, that's it for now. I think that's what you need to know. So thank you for watching. Take care. Have a great Easter in advance, and bye.